work is rooted in the Welsh landscape and structured by the medicine wheel, honoring the seasons, sacred elements, powers, and directions, using sound-based spiritual tools from the world's wisdom traditions to connect to and embody the divine for healing and transformation. She facilitates ceremonies and runs courses in person and
I can't pause it.
shamanic sound healer, tutor for the College of Sound Healing, and interfaith minister. She specializes in interfaith ceremonies, sacred dance, and spiritual connection through sacred sound, and her work is rooted in the Welsh landscape and structured by the medicine wheel, honoring the seasons, sacred elements, powers, and directions, using sound-based spiritual tools from the world's wisdom traditions to connect to and embody the divine for healing and transformation. She facilitates ceremonies and runs courses in person and online, inspired by a lifelong deep connection to the one great spirit through nature and the Celtic traditions. And her intention is to support the expansive transformation of the collective human consciousness. She also writes sacred chants, songs, poems, and prayers to assist in the rising of the divine feminine and the evolution of humanity towards a future of peace, harmony, love, and reverence for life. And today we are talking about sacred sound and the embodiment of the divine feminine and an indigenous approach. So Hara, welcome.
Thank you. Well, what an introduction. That's a lot of words, wasn't it?
It's a great introduction. So I just want to jump straight in, and the reason I'm so excited to speak to you today is because, you know, I love representing sound and healing from many different cultures, and you actually focus on, you know, a lot of you are an interfaith minister, I think.
I'm actually getting ordained in 6 weeks. I'm actually an ordinand at the moment, so I'm in process, but I've been doing interfaith ceremony for over 20 years now.
Okay, amazing. But I'm really interested to know about the land that you are residing in, which is Wales.
Yeah, well, you know, we hear a lot about people using ayahuasca and working with, I mean, it's so very trendy, isn't it, at the moment? People are looking for ways to find meaning and connection. And we're looking, understandably, to other cultures and other countries and practices because ours were, you know, colonized and dissipated and removed on pain of death centuries ago. So we kind of feel like we need to turn to other cultures to look for ways of connecting and finding our sense of meaning and deep connection to spirit and the land, I think. And I started that way too. I mean, because I didn't know indigenous practices. I didn't know how to work here. It didn't even cross my mind, to be honest. I think my twins are 33 in a few weeks, so it would have been about 30 years ago I first started shamanic practice. And I started with a Native American Indian medicine wheel, and I learned about the powers of the sacred directions and the elements and everything. And I've been working in that way for a long time. And as I was introduced to other cultures and other spiritual practices over the last 30 years, I began to feel that I wasn't in authentic alignment with my true purpose and my soul's fullest expression if I was working with the language, the processes of other cultures. And so I began to, rather than follow the guidance of other places, I would follow the guidance of the land and the spirits of the land and animals and the divine feminine and the holy love flowing through me. I would take that as my guidance. I would follow what arose in the temple of my heart and came directly from spirit. And I felt that the most potent way to do that would be to use the language of this land. And I joined OBOD, which is the order of bards, ovates, and druids. And again, I found more prescriptive practices, and again, it didn't feel to me in alignment. So I love OGOD, and I love working with the same real connection to trees and land and rivers and mountains, sky, and the awe and the flowing spirit of this land.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to follow someone else's practices, and I think this is something it's part of our current spiritual evolutionary process. I experience that, and I meet lots of other people who are finding the same, that we don't need to follow anyone else's or traditional ways. We can, but we don't have to. And it feels to me that certainly my path is about working with the divine to create new ones, to create what is in alignment with me at this moment, what I need, what the earth needs from us. I think we need to listen to her.
Yeah, and it's very unique. The reason I'm really interested in this, because obviously I'm British Indian, and I have a real connection to my Indian heritage, and regularly use the practices. But also, I really want to connect to the land that I live in as well. But there wasn't much. I think everyone here was doing. Obviously, I'm in England. I'm in London. Was doing practices from everywhere else. So it was like, but when you live somewhere, I think you need to honor that connection to the land, to the animal spirit guides, the ancient practices that you resonate with, that have been, happening for years, because obviously the frequency is there and you can harness that frequency. And I know when we first spoke, you were talking about the animal guides, and instead of, the fox spirit and all of these things. So I'd love to know if you could just open up the world of, I'm guessing it's Celtic is the kind of background of it.
Yeah. So Celtic and Druidic. So what I'm actually going to do for you later is I'm going to sing my medicine song to connect to the divine feminine, and I'm going to do a little Celtic medicine wheel ceremony for you, and I will invoke the spirits of the animals of this land, and I will sing some Welsh chants and use some sacred vowels, and I will do a little mini ceremony with singing and end with a prayer and that I've written as well, and a Druid peace prayer as part of that ceremony. So then you can feel it and experience it for yourself. Because I work the main spirits I work with are wind, water. I mean, it's actually raining right now. I don't know if you can hear it hitting above my head, but I'm welcoming the rain because, we've needed it after the May and April we had such boiling heat, the very welcome rain. Trees especially. I mean, my church is trees. I have huge beech trees all around me, and I live on in the foothills of the Cambrian Mountains in West Wales. Surrounded by trees. I have a small farm, and we have many animals come here, and I learn from the animals. I learn about the animals and learn from them. So the red kite is an animal I really call upon, and it's an amazing thing because when we moved here we might see one a year, and now we see one every day because there were 40 left in Wales, only 40. And now there's hundreds again, and they've been protected. And the red kite is like a huge, big red bird of prey that flies really high on the thermals and soars and just glides above. And it has this amazing perspective of everything. But it has such close-up vision. It can see a mouse running in a field, So it can really see the detail of what's right in front of it. But it also can step back and see the bigger picture. So there's so much we can learn about how to live in alignment by looking at how nature expresses herself, how the divine feminine expresses herself in other forms, and that's what Celtic spiritual tradition is about. It's about listening to the wisdom of the divine as she expresses herself through creation, and learning from that wisdom. Because they're also our allies and our friends, and they bring us all these medicines, they bring us guidance. Nature brings us our sustenance, our homes. She cares for us, and we need to really deepen our relationship and our sense of connection and reverence to her, really. So that's what these practices do. They really instill a sense of connection and reverence to the landscape. And you can do this in Hyde Park. You can do this, I do it in my son's back garden when I go to stay with him. I go out in the back garden. I stand under his pear tree. And I face the 4 directions, and I sing to the directions, and I do my prayers to the directions, and I call on the spirits of the elements and my ancestors and the local animals to just guide me, protect me, help me heal, keep me strong, present. And it doesn't matter. You can do it anywhere there's land.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. Even though I live in London, I actually have quite a big garden with a lot of trees. So I'm so when I do experience what you do, I am definitely going to do it. And then talking about the divine feminine, what's the kind of message about the divine feminine? Because we all have different messages.
Yeah. So what's really been, doing my interfaith studies, I've learned that in India, Shakti, obviously, and in Judaism, Shekinah, and the Awen in the Celtic tradition, it's the divine feminine. In Judaism and Christianity, the Shekinah is it's the closest form. It's the Holy Spirit. It's the closest form of the divine. So holy love. I call the divine great one spirit holy love. And that's the transcendent, unmanifest, formless, infinite, unknowable, transcendent aspect of the divine. And the divine feminine is the present, knowable, embodied, creative manifestation of the divine. So to me, the divine feminine is the divine made visible and manifest and experienceable to everyone, to all of us. And what's been coming to me in a lifetime of connection to spirit through nature. I mean, even as a child, I knew I was the daughter of the ocean. I used to call the ocean my mother, and I used to go to the sea every day because I lived a 2-minute walk from the sea when I grew up. In a lifetime of that, what the message that comes to me is for human evolution of consciousness to really grow and expand, and for us to live a life rooted in the earth, really deeply connected to our hearts and to spirit, lives of reverence and peace and compassion, with authenticity and truthfulness and
integrity is the word you're looking for, love.
Deep empathy and love and
integrity.
If you had 2 cars or more on finance between 2015 and 2021, you could be owed £5,318.25 per vehicle. Now that's the average claim, which is on the free checker attached to this video. So if you enter your name and a couple of details, there's no need to remember any reg plates, there's no need to upload any agreements. It'll pull through every agreement for you, so it'll find every PCP and HP contract that you had, and it'll give you the average claim amount for each one. So that might have been 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars, or even 4 cars, guys. Get checking now. 1.4 million claims have been made through this very checker attached. And we're looking at 850,000 drivers alone have actually made this claim.
It's amazing
now,
that they've got
go and do the check. It's really, really simple.
Tired of endless product searches? If you can prompt it, we can make it. Supercharger sort.
Everyone. For us to live like that, we need to expand our consciousness. And that means healing, transforming our shadow, being real about the darkness within, doing our inner work, our psychological work, helping remove the clouds from this amazing channel that we are, this amazing presence, and allowing ourselves to move out of that complete identification with the ego self, and allowing ourselves to expand into the bigger self, which is the part of us that is infinitely connected to that holy love. That divine self. And so sometimes I imagine I'm expanding my energy field. So I'm this drop of water and I'm expanding into the whole ocean of love. And other times I imagine I'm falling backwards And my ego self is this front, and I'm falling backwards into my infinite self and opening up into that. And then I'm just so expanded and open and soft and living in the temple of my heart, but still rooted into the earth. And to me, that is really bringing myself into alignment with the divine feminine. And my deep belief and hope is that by sharing the tools I share, I enable people to heal more of their psychological wounds and the trauma that we all face, and the anxiety and all of the challenges that we face. And I share tools for a more expansive connection to the authentic self, the authentic expression of each unique soul, which has its own beautiful, wonderful gifts to bring that no other being on this planet can bring. No one can bring what you bring. No one. You know, and no one can bring what I'm bringing, but we can share our gifts, and that's bringing the divine feminine, getting out of the ego self and into the expanded self and living from that place. And that's, you know, it's our life's work, but I do believe that the more we align ourselves with these soul frequencies, the quicker we will that evolution will grow exponentially in us as a species. You know?
Yes, that's beautiful. That's really, you know, resonating. So in terms of sacred sound, you know, you've got your drum at the back, and you said you made that drum, you made the rattle. Can you talk a little bit about the instruments that you use and like what happens when you make them?
Well, the drum is really interesting, actually, because this was the first drum I made, and she's a Triskele drum, so she has a Triskele on the front, and also on the back, which is unusual. You don't often get the triple spiral, which is the divine feminine, the goddess, you know, the maiden mother crone.
Saw the chair then.
The journey of properly making a shamanic drum is an incredible, profound thing.
So if he was interested
with the
in
College of Sound Healing, I
I
trained as a sacred drummer, so that I can use my drum to heal people and myself. And when you make a drum like that, you connect to the spirit of the animal whose skin you're using. For me, that was a deer, and the ash wood of the drum frame. And as you're cutting the hide, it's been soaked for a few days, so it's really soft and pliable. And you cut out the circle for the skin, the head of the drum, but you also need to cut out the cord that ties it all together. And as you're doing that, as you're going along, you are telling the skin, the spirit of this deer, the story of your life from your birth, all the major events, what the truth of your soul, the truth of your heart, your life struggles, your life's, you know, the gifts you've inherited about your ancestors, and you talk to it, and every part of your life, the things that arise that are significant to you, are then part of the drum. And because you're imbuing it with your life force, you're telling it your whole story. You know, I cried into it, I laughed into it, I spent hours doing that, cutting it all, and then you string all the drum, and then it has to dry, and then you paint it, and I've repainted it before more than once. So you're really putting your heart and soul into it. And I made it the most beautiful bag as well, with a goddess on the outside, and I made her a padded green leafy container, so that she's got like a forest around her, because to honor the deer, and then the goddess around her with these beautiful breasts made of flowers and a womb made of flowers, so that she would be held by the goddess, the mother, because she's a sacred object. And similar with this rattle, you know, she's got this crystals. Can you see the dragon's eye? You see it's a dragon's eye there. And so this is my Welsh rattle. I've got a dragon's eye, and I've got crystals there. And inside here are lots of different crystals that you pound. And when you rattle, they actually create sparks. You don't see them, but they actually create sparks, like, you know, like little ignition happening inside, which alters the air. I mean, they're incredible, powerful things. And because you make them with such mindfulness and reverence and clear intention, They're very powerful tools.
Wow. I didn't even know you could put crystals in like a rattle.
Yeah, little crystal chips. You can buy them as well, and you can choose the colors you want that have different meanings for you, and you know, they become really sacred objects then. So I thought I'm not going to drum today, but I am going to use the rattle when I sing my medicine song. So I'm going to just use the rattle, but I wanted my drum with me.
Yeah. Well, maybe you could do a little, I don't know if you feel called to, just at the end or something, or the beginning. So it's up to you. But we can't wait to experience that. And before we go on to that part, I just wanted to mention your free gift, which is the chants and prayers to the Divine Feminine, and which we can find that free link for that free gift on your website, harawillowhealing.co.uk. I will also put your Instagram and Facebook down below as well. And I just really want to thank you for, doing this work and opening up this channel for us to experience. I'm sure this is new for a lot of us, and maybe some of us out there it's not new for, but yeah. Thank you so much, Hara.
Thank you.
Over to you.
This is my medicine song, and I share this with you to honor the Divine Feminine and to acknowledge and have reverence for her presence in this space, the sacred space and sacred time. I am the goddess, I am the light, I am the owl who calls in the night, I am the wind that blows through the trees, I am the deep earth, I am the sea, I am the circle, I am the love, I am below and I am above, I am the soul in your soul family, I am the song of sweet harmony, you and I together as one. Land, sea, and sky, we are one. Sun, moon, and stars, we are one. Animal, vegetable, mineral, we are one. I am the cosmos, I am the space, I am the smile that lights up your face, I am the depths that you're willing to go, I am the air, and I am the flow, I am the source and I am the field, I am the holy, I am the healed, I am the fire at the setting of the sun, I am the goddess, I am the one, you and I together are one. Land, sea, sky, we are one. Sun, moon, and stars, we are one. Animal, vegetable, mineral, we are one. I am the goddess, I am the circle, I am the source. So I invite you to join me in this small mini ceremony. I begin by turning to the east, calling upon the spirits of the east, the spirit of Arkid, spirit of red kite, for guidance, for clarity. Share with us your vision, close up and the bigger picture. Call on you to guide us back to right relationship with the divine, with this Welsh chant. Cariad.